Imagine this for a moment. It's night. You're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. The house is quiet, but inside you there's a deafening noise. It's not ordinary anxiety, it's not just exhaustion, it's something deeper. It's that strange feeling that there's a conversation you need to have, a truth you need to face, but you keep pushing it away. I'll think about it tomorrow. Next week I'll deal with it. When things calm down, then I'll finally stop to reflect. But what if the question you fear the most is exactly the question Jesus is asking you today? It's not just any question. It's not about doctrine. It's not about religion. It's not about whether you go to church or not. It's a question that tears down masks, that pierces your chest, that touches what you've hidden so well that even from yourself you've managed to hide it. And do you know why this question scares you so much? Because deep down, you already know the answer. You just don't want to admit it. All throughout history, we human beings have done this. We've always run from the deep questions. Who am I really? What am I doing with my life? Why do I keep repeating the same mistakes? Why can't I change? These questions circle around us, but we distract ourselves with anything. Work, our phones, streaming, endless appointments, even religious activities. We fill life with noise so we don't have to hear the silence where these questions echo. And this is not just an identity crisis. It's not just late-night philosophy. It's something much deeper. It's resistance to the voice of God. Because when God speaks, He doesn't speak to distract you. He speaks to reveal you. And being revealed hurts. Being fully seen, with no filters, no excuses, no masks, that's terrifying. But here's the beauty in all of this. Jesus is not a distant judge slamming the gavel over your life. Jesus is the one who comes close, looks you in the eyes, and asks a question that disarms all your defenses. In the Gospels, He didn't just give ready-made answers. He asked questions that exposed the heart. Who do you say that I am? Do you want to be healed? Why are you so afraid? Simple, direct questions, but they went straight to the wound, to the exact point the person was avoiding. And today is no different. Jesus is still asking questions. The difference is that now the question is personal. It's directed at you, at your story, at your fear, at your escape. Today, throughout this video, you will be confronted with a question you may have been avoiding for years, but that can completely change the direction of your life. It won't be easy. It may bother you. It may stir up things you wish would stay quiet. But here's one promise. If you stay until the end, you won't leave with just more information. You'll leave with a question that can redefine who you are before Jesus and before yourself. So take a deep breath. Pause whatever you're doing. Put notifications aside for a few minutes, because this conversation is not about religion. It's about you. It's about your soul. It's about finally stopping the running and facing what Jesus has been trying to say to you. There is something fascinating about questions. They have a power that ready-made answers will never have. An answer closes. A question opens. An answer can be memorized, repeated, filed away in your mind without changing anything inside you, but a true question, that one doesn't let you rest. It stays there, poking, bothering, asking for space. Throughout history, the great teachers of humanity knew this. Socrates didn't give lectures full of answers. He walked the streets of Athens asking questions that destabilized people's certainties. He wanted to awaken conscience, not stuff anyone's head with information you forget, but a well-crafted question that changes the way you see the world and the way you see yourself. And Jesus Christ, the greatest of all teachers, used questions in a brilliant way. He didn't ask because he didn't know the answer. He asked to bring to the surface what was hidden in people's hearts. When he asked Peter, "Who do you say that I am?" it wasn't because he was unsure about his own identity. It was so Peter would declare what he truly believed. not what everyone else was saying. When he approached the paralyzed man at the pool of Bethesda and asked, "Do you want to be healed?" It sounds obvious, doesn't it? Of course, the man wanted to be healed, but the question went much further. Jesus was touching a deeper wound. Do you really want to change your life, or have you gotten used to this condition? Are you willing to give up the identity of victim and take responsibility for your own healing? And when the disciples were in the boat, in the middle of the storm, terrified, and Jesus appeared walking on the water, what did he say? "Why are you afraid?" He didn't say, "Relax, it's all under control." He went straight to the point. Their fear revealed what they truly believed about him. See, Jesus' questions never came from ignorance. They came from love, from a desire to reveal, to heal, to set free, because you can only change what you're willing to acknowledge. And you only acknowledge something when you're confronted with the truth. Now contrast this with the world we live in today. We want quick answers, instant solutions, 3 steps to be happy, 5 tips to succeed, 7 verses to memorize and your life is fixed. We want the magic formula, the shortcut, the ready-made answer that doesn't require reflection, that doesn't require real change. But Jesus doesn't work like that. He's not interested in giving you answers you can use like band-aids to cover deep wounds. He wants you to stop, to think, to look inside, to face what you've been avoiding. And what do we usually do when a difficult question shows up in our lives? We run, we change the subject, we distract ourselves. Think about it. How many times have you felt that discomfort in your heart about some area of your life, and instead of stopping to reflect, you grabbed your phone? How many times have you felt you needed a serious conversation with yourself about your marriage, your work, how you've been using your time, but you turned on the TV, dove into social media, packed your schedule? We avoid certain questions because deep down we already know they will demand change. And change hurts. Change requires courage. Change means admitting that something is not right, and that wounds the ego. Some people don't want to reflect on their marriage because they know that if they stop and really think, they'll have to admit they're living more like roommates than life partners. Some don't want to think about work because they know they're in a place that kills their soul, but they stay for financial security. Some don't want to think about secret addictions because they know they're chained, but they prefer to pretend they're in control. And spiritually, many don't want to stop and hear what Jesus is asking because they know the answer will demand forgiveness, surrender, humility, a change of direction. But here's the truth no one tells you. Avoiding the question doesn't make it disappear. It remains there, echoing at the bottom of your soul. You can muffle it for a while, but it comes back. It always comes back, because God doesn't give up on you, and there's more. Facing the truth hurts, but it sets you free. Running might feel comfortable in the short term, but in the long term, it becomes a prison. You can avoid a hard conversation today, but you'll carry its weight tomorrow, and the day after, and for years, until one day you look back and realize you wasted too much time running from something that could have been resolved if you'd had the courage to face it. So here is the central message of this video, and it's something you need to carve into your heart. Today, Jesus comes close to you not to accuse, but to ask. And this question reveals where your heart is. It reveals what you've been hiding. It reveals what you've been avoiding, but it also reveals the path to freedom, because when you finally stop running and face the question, something powerful happens. The mask falls. The truth comes out. And it's exactly in that moment of total vulnerability that Jesus can finally come in and do what he has always wanted to do: heal, restore, transform. So in the next few minutes, you'll be led on an inner journey. This won't be a theoretical sermon. It's an invitation to honest self-examination. You'll hear questions Jesus asks, questions that touch the most sensitive areas of spiritual life. And as you listen, pay attention to what stirs you. Pay attention to what bothers you. Because right there, exactly there, is where Jesus is trying to speak. And he is not speaking as a distant judge. He is speaking as a teacher, as a friend, as the one who knows you better than you know yourself and loves you anyway. He's not going to reject you because of your answer. He just wants you to be honest, because it is the truth that sets you free, not running. Now we're going into the deepest part of this video. You're going to hear 4 questions that symbolically represent what most people avoid facing spiritually. These aren't theoretical questions. These are questions Jesus asks today, right now, to you. And as you hear each one, pay attention to which one grips your heart the most, because that's the question Jesus is asking specifically to you. Do you really love me, or do you just like the idea of me? This might be the most uncomfortable question of all, because it's easy to admire Jesus. It's easy to like the idea of him, Jesus, as a historical figure, as a symbol of goodness, as a moral example. Everyone loves Jesus like that, from a distance, as a beautiful concept. But loving Jesus, truly loving him, that's a completely different story. To love means surrender. To love means commitment. To love means you don't just admire someone, you change your life because of them. And that's where it gets complicated, isn't it? Think about it. How many times have you said, I love Jesus, but when it came time to give something up for him, you backed off? How many times have you sung beautiful worship songs on Sunday, but by Monday, your life looked exactly the same, not a comma different? Real love costs. Real love transforms. Real love doesn't fit into pretty words alone. It overflows into concrete actions. Today, Jesus is asking you, do you really love me, or do you just like my image? Because many people love the idea of Jesus as Savior, but don't want him as Lord. They want salvation, but not transformation. They want heaven later, but not a changed life now. Some say they love Jesus, but refuse to forgive those who hurt them. Jesus said clearly, if you don't forgive, your Father won't forgive you. Yet they hold on to grudges, feed resentment, justify bitterness. So here's the question. Is that love for Jesus or just religious talk? Some say they love Jesus but won't let go of that hidden addiction. They won't abandon that habit that's destroying them from the inside. They won't change that toxic pattern in their relationships. They won't stop lying, manipulating, living a double life. And still they keep saying, I love Jesus. But do they really? Because Jesus never asked for admiration. He asked for love, and he himself defined that love. If you love me, keep my commandments. It's not about a sentimental feeling. It's not about emotion during a church service. It's about obedience. It's about trust. It's about handing over the control of your life and saying, Jesus, I trust you more than I trust myself. So take a deep breath and look into your heart right now. Do you really love Jesus? Or do you just like the idea of having a God who accepts you, forgives you, blesses you, but never touches anything you don't want to change? If this question made you uncomfortable, it's because it hit something real. And that's okay. Jesus isn't asking this to condemn you. He's asking because he truly loves you and doesn't want a fake relationship with you. He wants truth. He wants intimacy. He wants all of you. What have you done with the talents and opportunities I gave you? This second question hits another sensitive area. Purpose. God created you with a specific purpose. He gave you gifts, talents, intelligence, opportunities. He opened doors. He gave you ideas. He placed dreams in your heart. And then comes the question, what have you done with all of that? Some people have buried their talents. Remember the parable Jesus told about the servants who received talents? One got 5, another 2, another 1. The first 2 multiplied what they received, but the last one, out of fear, buried his talent. When the master returned, he was confronted, not because he lost it, but because he did nothing with it. How many projects have you shelved out of fear? How many ideas have you suffocated because you thought you weren't capable? How many opportunities have you let slip away because you chose your comfort zone? God gave you time, and time is the most precious resource there is because it's the only one you can't get back. You can recover money, recover health, sometimes even reconcile relationships, but lost time is lost forever. And Jesus is asking you, what have you done with the time I gave you? Have you used your time to grow, to serve, to love, to build something that matters? Or have you wasted it on empty things, endless distractions, hours on social media that leave you with nothing in return? And it's not just about time, it's about calling. God has called you to something. Maybe it's not pastoral ministry, maybe it's not missions overseas, but everyone has a calling. Everyone has something God wants them to do while they're on this earth. Some people know exactly what their calling is, but have postponed it for years. They're afraid to take risks, afraid to fail, afraid of what people will say. Meanwhile, their calling stays frozen, waiting for courage. Some are stuck in a job that kills their soul, knowing God has been whispering over and over, "Leave that. I have something better for you." But they stay, trapped by security, afraid of the unknown, lacking faith. And some have never even stopped to ask, "God, what is my calling? What do you want me to do with my life?" They live on autopilot. Wake up, work, eat, sleep, repeat. No purpose, no direction, no meaning. Today, Jesus is asking you, what have you done with everything I gave you? This is not a question meant to dump guilt on you. It's meant to wake you up. God gave you tools, and He expects you to use them, not to earn His love. His love is grace. It's free, unconditional. But because you were made for more than just surviving, you were created to live with purpose. So what are you going to do? Will you keep burying your talents, or are you going to start using them? Why are you still holding on to that wound I've already wanted to heal? Now we're going to touch on a deep wound, literally. This question is about forgiveness, trauma, and resentments you've carried for years, as if they were part of your identity. Some people have been deeply hurt, betrayed, abandoned, abused, rejected. These wounds are real. The pain is real. The suffering is legitimate. No one is minimizing what you went through. But here's the question Jesus asks. Why are you still clinging to that wound I've already wanted to heal? Because some have turned their wound into their identity. They introduce themselves by their trauma. They define their life by past pain. And whenever someone talks about forgiveness, healing, moving forward, they resist. You don't know what I went through. You don't know what they did to me. I will never be able to forgive that. So let's ask him with all respect and love. Do you really want to be healed, or have you gotten used to being defined by your wound? Some people revisit their trauma every day. They replay the story in their mind on a loop. They feed their grudge. They cultivate bitterness, and that becomes a prison. Jesus has already reached out to heal you. He died on the cross for this very reason, not only to deal with your sins, but also your pain. He's invited you countless times. Come, give me this hurt, this resentment, this pain. I want to heal you. But you hold on, because forgiveness feels unfair. You think that if you forgive, it's like saying what the person did was okay. But forgiveness has never meant saying, it's all fine. Forgiveness is about freeing you from the emotional prison that bitterness created. Forgiveness is not to benefit the one who hurt you. It's to benefit you, because as long as you don't forgive, you stay chained to that person, that moment, that pain. And Jesus wants to set you free. He is not asking you to forget. He's not asking you to trust the one who betrayed you again. He's not asking you to return to an abusive relationship. None of that. He's asking you to let go, to put justice in his hands and stop carrying a weight that was never yours. Do you know why it's so hard to forgive? Because we want the person to pay. We want them to suffer as we did. We want revenge disguised as justice. But Jesus says, "Vengeance is mine, I will repay." He's saying, "Trust me, leave this to me. You just need to let go." And when you finally let go, when you finally forgive, something supernatural happens. The wound begins to heal. Bitterness begins to be replaced by peace, and you realize you're free. Not because the person who hurt you changed, but because you changed, because you decided that pain would no longer define the rest of your life. So Jesus is asking you today, why are you still holding on to this wound? He already wants to heal. He is already waiting. The question is, are you willing to let go? If today were your last day, what would really have mattered? This last question is about finiteness, about how brief life is, about priorities. And it's a question we avoid because it forces us to confront our own mortality. No one likes thinking about death. We live as if we had unlimited time, as if there would always be a tomorrow. But the truth is, life is short. It's a breath, a mist that appears for a moment and then vanishes. And Jesus asks you, if today were your last day, what would really have mattered? Would it matter how many hours you spent at work trying to impress people who barely remember your name? Would it matter how many likes you got on social media? Would it matter what car you drove, what clothes you wore, what house you lived in? Or would what truly mattered be your relationships, the conversations you had, the love you gave, the forgiveness you extended, the lives you touched? Some people live their whole lives chasing things that won't last. They accumulate, they build, they work non-stop, but they forget to live, forget to love, forget to be present. Jesus is not against your achievements. He's not against working, building, growing, but he is inviting you to reevaluate your priorities. Because some are sacrificing their family for work, some are sacrificing their health for ambition, some are sacrificing their soul for other people's approval. And one day, when it's all over, they'll look back and realize they spent their life chasing the wind, that they won things that don't matter and lost what could never be replaced. So Jesus asks this question to wake you up now, while there's still time. What really matters in your life? And even more important, are you living according to that? If your answer is family, but you spend more time on your phone than with the people you love, something is off. If your answer is God, but you never find time to pray, to read the Word, to seek His presence, something is off. If your answer is purpose, but you're living on autopilot with no direction, something is off. Life goes by fast, faster than we think. And Jesus doesn't want you to reach the end full of regrets. He wants you to live intentionally, with awareness, with purpose, with love. So think right now, if today were your last day, would you be at peace? Or would you have a long list of things you wish you had done differently? These are the 4 questions, 4 mirrors Jesus is placing in front of you. And at least one of them stirred something in you, maybe all of them. Maybe just one. But the one that bothered you, that touched a wound, that made you want to skip ahead, that you felt like avoiding, that is the question Jesus is asking specifically to you today. Don't ignore it. Don't run from it, because it is exactly at that point of discomfort that transformation can begin. Now we've reached a crucial moment, because hearing the questions is one thing. Admitting that you've been running from them is something completely different. Here's the truth. Every human being has a well-developed defense mechanism to avoid looking within. We are experts at running from ourselves. We create sophisticated distractions, schedules packed down to the minute, endless entertainment, anything to avoid having to stop and face what's going on deep in our souls. Think about it. How many times have you felt that tightness in your chest, that restlessness, that sensation that something needs to change? And the first thing you did was grab your phone, open Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, anything to distract your mind. How many times have you clearly sensed God trying to say something important to you, but you turned on the TV, buried yourself in work, filled your calendar? We use everything as an escape. Overwork, shallow relationships, social media, endless binge watching, even religious activity. Yes, you can attend church, join groups, sing on the worship team and still be running from God. Religion can be a very effective smokescreen to hide a lack of real intimacy with Jesus. This is, at the same time, completely human and completely self-destructive. It's human because no one likes pain. No one likes facing their own flaws, their fears, their wounds. It's easier to pretend everything is fine. It's easier to put on a mask and keep going, but it's self-destructive because, from a deeper standpoint, running from yourself is living as a character. It's living a life that isn't really yours. It's waking up every day to play a role, while the real you stays hidden, suffocated, voiceless. And spiritually, running from yourself is running from God, because God doesn't want a relationship with your mask. He wants a relationship with you. The real you, the one who's afraid, the one who fails, the one who doubts, the one who's tired, the one who carries guilt, the one who doesn't have all the answers. Jesus is not shocked by your humanity. He took on flesh precisely to meet you in it. But he cannot heal what you insist on hiding. He cannot transform what you refuse to admit needs transformation. So let's do something now. A guided examination of your heart. And you need to be honest. No one else is listening. It's just you and Jesus in this room. Take a deep breath. What do you know needs to change, but you keep putting off until tomorrow? Think about that for a moment. Don't rush past it. Let the question echo. What area of your life do you know, absolutely know, needs change, but you keep delaying? Maybe it's a toxic relationship. Maybe it's an addiction. Maybe it's a behavior you know is wrong. Maybe it's a decision you've been postponing. What is it? Now another question. What decision are you postponing, even though you know Jesus has already spoken to you about it? Because some things God has already spoken about. You've heard it in a sermon. You've read it in scripture. You've felt it deep in your heart during prayer. You know what he's asking, but you don't act. You delay. You negotiate. You hunt for an easier workaround. What is that decision? And one more. What truth about yourself are you afraid to admit? This one is heavy, because everyone has something. Everyone has that inconvenient truth they'd rather keep hidden, even from themselves. Maybe it's that you're not as strong as you pretend to be. Maybe you're not as okay as you say you are. Maybe you're afraid. Maybe you're lost. Maybe you're hurt. Maybe you're living a lie. What is your hidden truth? These questions hurt. It's painful to look at this. But listen, Jesus already knows it all. He knows every corner of your soul. He sees what no one else sees, and he loves you anyway. He's still here. He's not turning away. Jesus is not asking these questions to humiliate you. He's asking because he loves you too much to leave you stuck. He's in the innermost room of your soul, patiently waiting for you to open the door to this conversation. He won't kick it down. He respects your freedom, but he keeps knocking. Here is the truth that can change everything. Facing the truth about yourself is not the end. It's the beginning of freedom, the beginning of healing, the beginning of real transformation. Running doesn't remove the weight you carry. Running only delays it, prolongs it. It makes the burden heavier, and eventually you can't stand it anymore. The mask cracks. The escape stops working. That's usually when most people collapse, because they've spent a lifetime avoiding the truth, and when the truth finally surfaces, it hits them all at once like an avalanche. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can choose to face it now. You can choose to take off the mask now. You can choose to stop running now, while you're still standing, while you still have strength, while there is still time. The choice is yours. Jesus will not force you. He will invite. He will wait. He will stand there with open arms, ready to receive you the moment you find the courage to be honest. So here is the invitation for you, right here, right now, even as you watch this video. Decide not to run anymore. Decide to face at least one question Jesus is asking you today. Just one. You don't have to fix everything at once, but choose one truth you've been avoiding and look it in the eyes. Because when you do that, when you finally stop running, something powerful happens. Jesus steps in. And when Jesus steps in, everything changes. Now that you've identified the question, now that you recognize you've been running, the real issue becomes, so what now? What do you do with this? How do you respond to Jesus in a real, practical way? Because it's no use having an emotional moment during this video and then tomorrow going back to exactly how things were. It's no use being moved right now if 3 days from now you're back in the same escape, same excuses, same patterns. So here are 3 simple steps. They're not complicated. They don't require advanced theology, but they do require sincerity, courage, action. First step, admit the truth to Jesus. Take a moment after this video ends and talk to him. It doesn't need to be a beautiful prayer filled with religious language. It can be brutally honest. In fact, it needs to be, tell him exactly what you're feeling. Jesus, I've been running from this question. I'm afraid to face it. I don't know if I have the strength to change, but I know you're speaking to me, and I don't want to run anymore. Name it. Say it out loud if you need to. Write it down if that helps. But pull it out of your head and place it before Jesus. As long as it stays only in your mind, you can manipulate it, dodge it, distort it. But when you verbalize it, when you name it, when you admit it, it's as if the truth takes shape and you can't pretend it's not there anymore. Second step, pray without a mask. Skip the rehearsed, polished prayer you learned to repeat. Jesus doesn't need eloquence. He wants truth. So come to him just as you are, broken, tired, confused, angry, scared, ashamed, whatever it is. Come like that. Tell him what's really in your heart. If you're angry at God, say it. If you're disappointed, say it. If you don't understand why certain things happened in your life, say it. If you feel like you can't forgive, say it. If you're trapped in an addiction and you've tried to quit 1,000 times and keep going back, say it. Jesus is not offended by your honesty. He's offended by your fakeness. He would rather hear a prayer full of raw, honest doubts than one filled with fake certainties. Third step, take one micro step in line with your answer. This is crucial because faith without action is dead. Prayer without action is just positive thinking. So after you admit and after you pray, you need to do something. It doesn't have to be huge. It can be small, but it has to be concrete. If Jesus' question to you was about forgiveness, your micro step might be sending a message to the person who hurt you. It doesn't need to be a long letter. It can be something simple. I've decided to forgive you. I'm letting this go. Or if it's someone who has died or someone you can't contact anymore, write a letter and burn it. Do something symbolic to express that release. If the question was about purpose, your micro step might be to reopen that project you shelved, open the file, make a call, send an email, take the first step, even a small one. If the question was about your relationship with Jesus, your micro step might be to set aside 10 minutes a day, every day, just to be with him. No phone, no distractions, just you and him, reading scripture, praying, listening. If the question was about priorities, your micro step might be cutting something that's been wasting your time and redirecting that time toward what truly matters. What matters most is that you don't finish this video without making one practical decision, because responding to Jesus is not about perfection. It's about a sincere move that opens space for transformation, and it's from that single small step that an entire journey of change can begin. So decide right now, what will your micro step be? There is a huge difference between living a religion and living a relationship. And this has to be said, because a lot of people confuse the two. Religion is about rules, rituals, traditions. It's about going to a place, fulfilling obligations, following a protocol. There's nothing wrong with structure, discipline, community, but if it's just that, just form without life, then you have religion, but you don't have Jesus. Relationship is something else. Relationship is intimate, personal, vulnerable, dynamic. Relationship means you know the person and the person knows you. It means you talk, share, open up, trust. Here's the problem. Many people have been going to church for years, know doctrine, know the songs, participate in everything, but have never allowed Jesus to ask deep questions about their lives. They've never truly opened their hearts. They've never taken off the mask. It's like a marriage, where the couple lives in the same house, shares the same bed, but doesn't really know each other. They don't talk about what really matters. They don't share fears, dreams, frustrations. They share a routine, but not intimacy. You might be doing that with Jesus. You go to services, you sing, you raise your hands. Sometimes you cry. But when he tries to go into the deeper areas of your life, when he tries to touch that wound, that fear, that secret sin, you slam the door shut. You change the subject. You distract yourself. Then the relationship doesn't grow. It stays superficial. It stays in form. It feels safe, but it's empty. Real intimacy doesn't grow on the surface. Intimacy is born when you allow yourself to be fully seen, when you take off the masks, when you stop trying to impress and simply are. Here's the beautiful part. Jesus already knows you. He already knows everything. There is nothing you can hide from him. So why are you still trying? He's already seen your worst moments, your darkest thoughts, your most shameful failures, and still he loves you. Still he doesn't walk away. Still he remains, waiting for you to open up. And here's the difference between accusation and love. The accuser points a finger and condemns. Jesus points to the wound and asks, "Do you want me to heal this?" The accuser makes you feel like trash. Jesus makes you feel loved and challenged to grow. The accuser wants to paralyze you with guilt. Jesus wants to free you with truth. So when Jesus asks a question that makes you uncomfortable, when he touches an area you'd rather leave alone, he isn't accusing you. He's inviting you into intimacy, into healing, into transformation. But this requires that you honor the freedom he gave you, because he already knows all the answers. He knows exactly what's going on in your heart, yet he doesn't invade. He asks, and by asking, he gives you the dignity of choosing your response. He could just step in and fix everything, but then you'd be a robot, not a child. So he respects your freedom. He waits for your invitation. He waits for you to open the door. And when you finally open it, when you finally answer honestly, something supernatural happens. His presence enters in a different way, deeper, more real, and you realize what you had before was just the shell. Now you're tasting the essence. So here's something practical for you to do. After this video, pause for a moment and ask, "Jesus, what do you want to ask me today?" Sit in silence. Don't fill the space with words. Don't rush off to your next task. Just wait, listen. Pay attention to what rises in your heart. It might be a question you already know. It might be something new. It might come as a feeling, a memory, an image. It might even feel like silence. And that's okay. What matters is that you're creating space for him to speak. Because this is the foundation of an authentic spiritual life. Not a monologue where you just ask and say thank you. It's a dialogue, an ongoing dialogue in which Jesus asks, challenges, comforts, guides, and you answer. Trust, obey, grow. And the goal of all this is not to live in constant guilt. It's not to live on eggshells, terrified of making a mistake. The goal is to live awake, to live in love, to live knowing who you are, who He is, and the path He's calling you to walk. That is relationship. That is intimacy. That is what Jesus has always wanted with you. So we've come to the end. And there's something very important you need to hear. Do not let this question die when this video is over. It's easy to feel moved right now. It's easy to feel that tightness in your chest, that desire to change, that sense that something needs to be different. But 10 minutes from now, when you walk away, when routine returns, when your phone starts buzzing again, when distractions come roaring back, it's very easy to forget. It's very easy to shove everything back under the rug. Then tomorrow you wake up and everything is exactly the same. Same escape, same excuses, same patterns. And that question Jesus asked, the one that hit you so deeply, slowly fades until it becomes just a vague memory of a video you watched once. Don't let that happen. Let's quickly recap where we've been together. We began by talking about how every human being runs from certain deep questions, how we avoid facing truths about ourselves because they demand change, and change hurts. Then we saw how Jesus, throughout the Gospels, used questions not to humiliate, but to reveal, to bring hidden things into the light, to heal, to set free. Next up, you heard 4 major questions that represent what most people avoid. Do you really love me? Or do you just like the idea of me? What have you done with the talents and opportunities I gave you? Why are you still holding on to that wound I've already wanted to heal? If today were your last day, what would really have mattered? We walked through this inner confrontation, recognizing that running changes nothing. It only postpones. We talked about how to respond in practical ways, with concrete steps, and about the difference between superficial religion and a real relationship with Jesus. Now, here is your final challenge. Don't let this question die. Which question hit you the hardest? Which one bothered you? Which one you wanted to skip? Which one touched a wound you preferred to leave alone? That is the question Jesus is asking specifically to you today. And here's the invitation, the challenge, the plea. Don't run from it. Carry it with you. Let it echo in your heart over the next few days. Let it unsettle you, because transformation is born out of that discomfort. If you want, share something in the comments. You don't have to expose every detail if you don't want to, but write something. It could be as simple as, I decided to stop running, or this question really hit me, or mention which part of the video spoke to you the most. Because when you externalize it, when you put it into words, it's like you're making a commitment, not just to this channel, not just to whoever reads it, but to yourself and to Jesus. Now, let's pray together. It doesn't matter where you are, your room, your car, a bus, walking down the street. If you can, close your eyes for a moment. Let's talk to Jesus. Jesus, you are here right now. You see every person watching this, and the prayer today is simple. Step into the places we've been avoiding. Step into the rooms we've kept locked. Step into the wounds we've been hiding. Bring light where there's darkness, courage where there's fear, healing where there's pain. Help each of us to stop running. Give us the courage to face the truth, no matter how hard it is, knowing you are by our side. Jesus, thank you for not giving up on us. Thank you for continuing to ask, to call, to wait. Today, we choose to answer. Today, we choose to stop running. Today, we choose to open our hearts for real. Don't let this question you placed in each heart fade away. Let it keep echoing until it becomes real change, a transformed life, a true relationship with you. In your name, Jesus, amen. This video is part of a bigger journey here on the channel. We're going to keep going deeper into themes like purpose, forgiveness, inner healing, intimacy with Jesus. So if you want to keep walking this road, subscribe and turn on the notifications. I want to walk this process with you, and if this video touched you, Share it with someone who might also be running from an important question. Sometimes God uses us in someone else's life without us even realizing it. Before you go, there's one sentence to keep in your heart, a sentence that sums up everything we talked about here. When Jesus asks the question you've been avoiding, it is not to lose you. It is to finally find you completely. He doesn't want pieces of you. He doesn't want the edited version you show everyone else. He wants you whole, complete, with your wounds, your fears, your failures. Because only when you allow yourself to be fully seen can He fully heal you. So don't run anymore. Face the question, answer honestly, and let Jesus in, for real. See you in the next video. And until then, remember, you are not alone on this journey. Jesus is with you. He always has been. He always will be. God bless you.